She didn't want to go during the holidays, so that during the holidays would always be ruined because that's when Mom died. And I go, Mom, if you're not feeling well, you need to not be suffering. Do what you want to do. Don't think about us. This is the one time in your life you can be selfish, terminally ill with a life expectancy of 6 months or less. And in Wenatchee, we couldn't find any doctors who would do that. One thing about myself is that if you give me a task, I'll do it. And I'll put the emotions aside. We had an idea of how the last day would go, and we didn't realize it was going to be day drinking, but that's what it turned into. And the one thing that I think I wasn't ready for was my mom's bravery. Man, I wish I would have told her that when she looked at me and said, didn't think I'd do it. I was just shocked, like, wow.
Welcome to Live Well, Be Wise, the podcast that deepens the well-being conversation, finding the gold in your stories of hardship and the connection to wise action and lived wellness. Today we have the honor of sitting down with Scott Kreiter. He's a neighbor and a community member, and he shares today his powerful experience of helping his mom die with dignity. She was facing terminal illness and was suffering. She decided to access the Death with Dignity law here in Washington State. With his epic humor and courage, he shares with us what they learned as they walked through this process and how they eventually succeeded to give his mom her final greatest wish. There's a little bit of Willie Nelson, some fun, and some gravity. Also, a how to avoid being mentally old checklist features today in our very frank conversation with Scott. Hold on to your hats, folks. We know you'll enjoy this episode as much as we did recording it. And if you've ever met Scott, you know exactly what I mean. Welcome in to the studio today, Scott Kreiter. We're just gonna play this funky music that you can't hear.
Well, thanks for having me. That was a nice little short introduction. I thought maybe it would be more like a welcome local man who killed his wife, Scott Kreiter. Or killed his mother, killed his mother, Scott Kreiter.
Oh, Amy. We got
local
shit to
man
share.
who killed his mother. Scott, take it. Okay, yeah, thanks for having me.
So we're excited to have you here today. Why don't you kick us off with a definition of what wellness is for you in your life?
Okay, so first of all, I don't think about these things very often. I'm more of a neanderthal. I'm not a deep thinker. But I did give a little thought to that, and I thought about what my wife Amy and I talk about quite a bit is, what are the things that we do to live a happy life?
Yeah.
And that is basically remaining physically and socially active, managing stress, making the effort to change the things that are within your control, like stress-wise, if you can remove something, do it.
Right.
Having something to look forward to is really important to us. So, and then staying mentally young. So however you can do that.
Those are lovely.
When do you think that you first had this conversation about being well and living the life you want to live?
Probably in our 30s. Our friends either not living healthy lifestyles or going through divorces. And when we started to talk about to each other, well, are you happy? Because we see these things going on. And we realized that, the things we like to do for fun, like mountain biking and hiking and paddling and outdoor stuff, you can't do those things forever unless you stay fit and healthy. So, and the other thing is that we do a lot of travel. I wouldn't say a lot of travel. We travel a couple of times a year with friends. And if we don't have something planned for our next adventure, there's like something missing. So we like to always have something out there to look forward to.
It sounds like you already had a foundation, though, of some honesty to say, are you happy? I mean, some people don't have the courage to ask that question.
Lots of people can't say that.
The irony of it was that when I asked that question to Amy, we were mountain biking. We're on the road. I remember exactly where we were, and we were talking about, gee whiz, this is like an epidemic going on with our friends. Do we need to go see a counselor? And Amy's like, do you think we need to go see a counselor? I mean, are you okay? I'm okay. If we go, they're going to dig something up. And we don't want that something to happen. That's their job.
Yeah.
So the irony of it, I think, was that we were doing something healthy together and having that conversation. And then I guess the other thing is that, we saw family members. You're getting to the point where your parents are aging, and you see decisions that people make, and where they may have the ability to control their fate by changing their lifestyle, but people tend to want to go to the doctor and get a pill. And so we saw those things happen. We saw some of the behaviors and have basically said, we don't want to do that.
So not only did you guys have this honesty with each other to discuss this, but the awareness also that what you didn't want to welcome into your life, seeing friends and family making choices that were going down a road where it was going to wear on them as they age. So I think kudos to you.
And sometimes I think that's how we shape our definitions in life generally. We look around us and we say, I don't want that. Or this is how I don't want to live. And then we say, oh.
It's a base to go from.
To explore.
Yeah.
Scott, one of the reasons that I sent this invitation to you today was because I know this story from your life with your mom at the end of her life, and just whatever you'd like to share with us.
I believe the beginning of her health decline was when my brother passed away, and that was in 2012. And at that point, that added this new stress and depression we picked up on, thinking about what she could have done differently to help, things like that. The depression was what triggered what happened next, which was the steady decline of, not watching her diet. She ultimately was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Just a side story, we went down to visit one time. We're driving down I-5 on her route that she took every day to the ice cream shop. And I was driving her car, and she looked at me and she said, I don't know if you have a beard right now, but if you do, you should keep it. You look great with a beard. And I said, you can't see my face from the passenger seat?
Oh,
how are you driving?
What?
And she's like, well, I know my way to work. I've been taking this route for so many years. So at that point, we were like, wow, there's a major problem
Okay,
here.
that was the sign.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
that probably left you aghast. I mean, I'm just like dumbfounded right now.
She was trying to get retired and move out here to Wenatchee. So, which she ultimately did, moved right down the street from us. And then at that point, we could really get more involved in some of the day-to-day of her health care. And at that point, she was diabetic, had congestive heart failure, and was struggling really heavily with edema, where she would get massively bloated with fluid, and then they would give her the medications for that, and then she would follow the doctor's orders on the dosages to the point where she would get completely dehydrated, and there were these massive highs and lows. Then she had kidney failure as well. So her lungs were filling up with fluid, and at some point she actually had done some research, and she came to us and said, hey, there's this death with dignity legislation or law in the state of Washington. I'd like to look into that. And so she said, I'm not interested in dialysis at all. Her husband had gone through that. She knew what that was all about. She wanted nothing to do with it. And she wanted to control her own fate as much as she could. And so then we started navigating that process.
Hard subject to broach.
Yeah. What was your first response when she mentioned it?
I thought it made 100% sense. That's what I would choose to do if I was in that position. So I thought, well, if there's a way to go out the way you want to go and not be, say, in a hospital room, going days and days in and out of consciousness or whatever.
Right. So right then she was looking at her quality versus quantity.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we learned through that process, and having dealt with some other family members who had been faced with similar circumstances, you say, and we talk about this as well, Amy and I do, when I get to this point, my quality of life, and I'm done. What we didn't know, and what we've learned in a couple of cases, is that the goalposts will move as you go
absolutely.
through that.
Right.
Yes.
So one of the things she specifically said was, when I'm on oxygen, that's when I'm done. And then we had 100 feet of oxygen hose in her house so that she could get to every corner, of the house. So So that'll change as you go, but that's fair. I mean,
it is fair because you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
You've never been on oxygen before,
Right?
With congestive heart failure,
Right?
Yeah. And it's like, oh, well, clearly there must have been some quality of life that was still there for her that was worth living for.
Right.
So how long did it take between kind of her first mention it, let's look into it, you guys helped her with the research, to really kind of starting to take some action?
The process took a while. We contacted End of Life Washington, which is the organization that will help navigate you through the process. And what we learned along the way is that they will do everything for you. We thought, well, we're here in Wenatchee. Yep. We're gonna go out and try to do some of these steps ourselves to help move that process along. And so, I would say probably a year of trying to figure that out.
So in that year, was she continuing to decline and suffer?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I would imagine they would want it to be a pretty short period of time to figure it out, since people are in pain. You don't want to strain and stretch that out.
Right. You actually have to have a diagnosis of 6 months or less. Mm-hmm. Right. So you have to have an attending physician and a prescribing physician. That's not the proper term, but they do refer to it as that. Those two doctors need to basically buy off. And in Wenatchee, we couldn't find any doctors who would do that.
Oh, wow.
This was in 2016.
Okay.
So we talked to her primary. Mm-hmm. Everybody was more than friendly and nice, and they said the right things, but when it came right down to it, none of them would commit. And we did some research, and we knocked on doors, and we went to the top.
Okay.
And
like CEOs of healthcare?
Yes.
Okay.
And really didn't find what we were looking for. But what we ended up finding out is that End of Life Washington essentially told us, hey, you're doing all the right things. We can do it better, and we can do it faster.
Okay.
And they have volunteer physicians who will come to your house, meet with you over video. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so what we ended up with was a team leader, and he came to visit in the home, and he was a psychologist to make sure that she was of
sound mind, I think is the phrase.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, so he came, talked to all of us, and then there were two other doctors who my mom met with by video conference. Okay. And then they signed off. And so
essentially what you were looking for when actually was a signature. Is that how it works?
Yep.
Two docs have to sign to say,
yep,
she qualifies, let's move forward with
correct
medication or some sort of lethal dose.
Yep. Okay. The other thing you need is a pharmacy that is a compounding pharmacy.
Compounding.
Right.
And I've heard that people have trouble finding those, but we didn't have any problem. We went to the hospital, and they did exactly what they needed to do, and there were no question.
Once you got everything signed off.
Correct.
So End of Life Washington, so it's a nonprofit. They specialize in this?
They do. They specialize in not only death with dignity, but also just end-of-life care and finding ways to make that better for people.
Sounds like a very compassionate organization.
Yep, they are.
Do you want to go through that Death with Dignity checklist?
Comes off their website. It's pretty brief and pretty straightforward. You need to be a resident of Washington. You need to be 18 years or older, mentally competent, terminally ill with a life expectancy of 6 months or less. Mm. And you have to be able to self-ingest or self-administer the medications, which is important. And the law requires that you have an attending provider. That's the one I was calling prescribing. Mm. That's the medical professional who writes the prescription. And then a consulting provider who verifies the diagnosis. 2 oral requests. So you need to make an oral request for the process to begin, and then make another one at least 7 days later. Then step-by-step instructions. You make a clear request to the Washington Death with Dignity law to a medical provider. to use the law to a medical provider. Mm-hmm. Step 2, identify and schedule a visit with a qualified medical provider, which is what we had to do by video. Identify and schedule a visit with another medical provider who's willing to act as the consulting provider.
Okay.
And then complete the written request for medications and return it to that provider. And you need to be witnessed by 2 people at the time of signing the papers. And then at least 7 days after the request was recorded, make a second oral request for death with dignity to the attending provider.
Yeah. So I thought you said this sounded so simple.
I know.
This is really not sounding very simple.
Now that I hear it, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a calendar and how everything is lined up. And if you don't have something lined up, then, do you start over? Do you have to back up? Do you?
Yeah, and I think there's the 7 days in there. I think it's at least 7 days. I don't remember us doing it all that quickly.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think there was the initial contact, and then,
But
maybe
you
a
had
couple
End of
weeks
Life
go by.
Washington essentially at this point helping you with
We
all
did.
these steps.
Yes.
That's
Yep.
amazing.
Yes.
So when you do go through this process, is there a date specified? Like, I want this to be the date, and then you back up from there to get everything done, and you're saying, okay, this is the date we're heading for, or is it just as it unfolds?
Right. So you get everything set up, and then once you are ready to set that date is when you go ahead and ask for the prescription.
Oh, I see.
So you can hang out for a year or longer, and then once you get that prescription, and the prescription's good for 6 months. That's what it says here.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you can't wait more
Yeah.
than that to use it.
Right. So End of Life Washington will give you the option of having somebody there to help you on that last day administer the prescription, or the medication.
That was going to be my next question. Is there other
Yeah.
people in attendance?
Yeah, it's whatever you want it to be. When the first volunteer came, he explained how it would all go, and he offered to be there. And then my mom said, well, I would rather that it just be family, as long as there's somebody here who's willing to go ahead and do these steps when that time comes.
Yeah. So walk
Yeah.
us into that final day with your mom.
One thing about myself is that if you give me a task, I'll do it. And I'll put the emotions aside. And I know everybody can't do that. And I think that people who may be faced with, if somebody says, if your loved one says, I want you to be the one to do this, they maybe just can't do it. We had an idea of how the last day would go, and we didn't realize it was going to be day drinking, but that's what it turned into. And so we were completely caught off guard. We had Christmas, and the next morning, 6 a.m., my mom calls, and she says, I want you to come over. I want to talk to you about something.
Mm-hmm.
And she just lived down the street, and she said, and you can bring Amy if you want to. And so Amy and I walked down there, and she said, okay, I've decided that today's the day. And yeah, we had no idea. And so she goes, and here's what I want to do. I want to drink Rob Roy.
I'm guessing that was her favorite.
It was her favorite. And she wanted to listen to Willie Nelson, and she wanted to play Scrabble with just Amy and I. She didn't want the boys to be there, so she said, then when that's over with, then we go with the procedure. So
Okay.
we said, okay, let us go home, get the boys situated,
Yep.
got them fed breakfast, and turned on the TV, and said,
Sure.
we'll be back.
Oh, boy.
So, and that's exactly what we did. We got the Scrabble board out. We asked the Alexa to play Willie Nelson.
So
And-
before you
yeah.
continue, I hate to break
Yeah.
it up, but I'm just like I'm feeling it's surreal. Is this reality?
I was actually thinking about that as I was kind of remembering all of this. What was it like when we were walking back home? We looked at each other and went, "Oh my God!" And I think we were just in a zone. Like, okay, we need to do these things, and then we need to go back and
Do the last thing.
yeah, and I think in some ways it might have been better that way because we didn't have a chance to really sit down and go, oh, get like scared about
You're
it,
right.
like, think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
She was wise.
Absolutely.
She was, yeah. I think she must have planned it that way.
It sounds like it after the fact, doesn't it?
Yeah, we did have a
Yeah.
conversation several weeks earlier where she said she was starting to think about it, but it was hard because she didn't want to. She didn't want to go during the holidays, so that during the holidays would always be ruined because that's when Mom died. And I go, Mom, you need to do what if
Yeah.
you're not feeling well, you need to not be suffering. Do what you
Yes.
want to do. Don't think about us. This is the one time in your life you can be selfish.
Yes. But good
So,
for you for saying
yeah.
that to her.
What grace.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what we did. And so we went back and we got the Scrabble board set up and we got the music playing. We all started having cocktails. I had remembered that I thought of this new Scrabble rule that I wanted to use that I always forgot about. And my mom loves playing Scrabble. And I said, hey, I had this idea that if you use a dirty word that you get triple points. Doesn't matter what it is.
Cool rule.
Yeah. And she's like, well, yeah, absolutely. We're going to do that. So
Everything today. Do it
Because
all.
no rules matter.
That's
yeah,
right.
so we played with that rule. And she ended up crushing us.
With dirty word scores?
Well, no, she ended up she
what I pictured.
she was crushing us with just in general. She was beating us badly, and then the final word that she used was twat on a triple word score.
Oh, hey, go mama.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I just wish I could see her face.
I love her.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah. So
Yeah, right?
So yeah, and then all of a sudden she just said, "Okay, feeling sleepy, I'm ready to go to my room." And I'm not sure this is how I should have responded, but I said I'm a task-oriented person, and all of a sudden for me that was like, okay, now you need to get your shit together. Don't screw up.
You talking to yourself there?
That's what I said to myself.
Yes.
And I stood up like I was at attention, and I said, okay. And my mom started cracking up. And she goes, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I want to make sure that this all goes well. So yeah, we got her up and took her to her room. And Amy sat in there with her while I went and stirred up the medication.
Yeah.
And went into her room with it, and she said, hey, I can't hear the music. And so I yell, Alexa, turn up the volume.
Yeah.
And the volume came up, and Always on My Mind by Willie Nelson came on, and she's like, that's my favorite Willie Nelson song.
Aww.
Yeah, like it was just,
Wow.
like it was
Meant to be.
Dialed
meant
in.
to be. So,
Yeah.
okay, so she took the cup and drank it down, and she grabbed her cocktail and drank a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
And she looked at me and she said, didn't think I'd do it, did ya?
Wow.
And we hugged, and she laid her head back and she went to sleep. And that was it. So 20 minutes later, we believed that she was gone
Yeah.
at that point. I don't know that it always goes that way.
Yeah.
That's
sure.
how it went for us.
Sure.
It went very smoothly. Of course, once, for me, seeing someone else's emotion, I cry like a baby. So Amy really lost it.
Yeah.
When she laid her head down and closed her eyes, then the waterworks were going. So, and then just to tie up the bow, when it's all over, you can't make a determination or anything like that. You call the coroner. Yeah.
So did you hang out and let the waterworks just
we
happen?
did. We hung out for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember that kind of shift from tasking to just letting yourself be the son in that moment? I mean,
Yeah.
at a different level.
Yes.
Yeah. That just lost his mom.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it takes a while for those things to set in.
Yeah.
It's always how it's been for me as far as, dealing with death of a family member or a pet. Some people hear something and they burst into tears. It takes a while for things to sink in.
Sure.
But I can watch an episode of Ted Lasso and I cry.
Yeah.
I can't,
Good.
acts of kindness to me drive me, I just like, I can't handle it. I've got tears rolling. The one thing that I think I wasn't ready for was my mom's bravery. So that's, I think one of the things on your list that you had was, what's something that you can tell people to ask themselves, if they're dealing with something similar. And that is be ready for someone to be super brave because, man, I wish I would have told her that when she looked at me and said, didn't think I'd do it. I was just shocked, like, wow.
What do I do with that?
Now what?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she was super brave.
If you knew that now and you could reflect back and say, oh, what would you have said different?
I would have said exactly
just said that. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I would have just said, wow, you're one brave hombre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to say, she was spunky going out.
She was, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Did she live her life that way? Was that her
Oh
personality?
my God. Yes,
Yeah.
that was her personality. She was she was telling us dirty jokes when we were little kids.
Yeah.
And she was a practical joker.
Oh, so that's how you got it from.
That's exactly where it came from. Yeah, she was always a ton of fun. Super positive.
Scott, how did going through this Death with Dignity process with your mom grow you, impact you in your own life?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to answer your question.
That's okay.
Exactly.
You be you, man.
So, getting back to what we were talking about earlier, as far as living your life in a way that's healthy, I said a little bit ago that, I can take a task and put the emotions aside. One thing I'm really good at is carrying guilt. I think my mom was good at carrying guilt, and she was not able to move on from that. And so one thing that I feel like I'm doing a better job of is you can't change the past. You can only try to learn from it, obviously, and maybe do better the next time.
Yeah.
And so, again, back to the medications. Gosh, if we'd have known more, she wouldn't have been going through those major highs and lows. And maybe she would have had a longer, more comfortable life. So I believe that for me, as far as what do you learn from it and what do you change, don't dwell on those things. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So I'll catch myself doing it. I might be laying in bed and think, oh, could have done this. We should have recognized that.
Right.
And then I go, don't go there. There's no reason for it.
You don't know what you don't know.
In the moment.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But we just do that as humans, don't we? It's such a skill.
Yeah.
We rack ourselves with guilt.
Yeah.
Or regret.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you say, Scott, that you really noticed that about your mom even before she was ill and dying? Like she was just a guilt carrier?
Always.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you noted to yourself at some point, like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad is similar in that way. He has, so both of them had the same experience, right? They both lost a son.
Yeah.
I know that my dad, he'll bring it up and say, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but he has moved on. You have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So some people just can't or don't know how.
So you've recognized this in yourself. Is there a part 2 to that? Are you taking action in any way? Or what more does that bring to your life to recognize it and have an awareness?
To not carry the guilt.
Think about what you're going to do the next day.
Yeah.
What are you going to do for fun? What are you going to do next time you run into something like this?
So does that
what can
feel
you do
like you're
differently?
less compartmentalizing?
Absolutely.
Like, it was over there, but now I can look at it and see
Yeah.
and recognize it's there, and let's
100%.
Move on.
move on.
It's always there. It's always going to be there. But I think it was on Saturday Night Live, and someone came in and said, I'm deathly afraid of being buried alive. And he said, stop doing that.
Right?
That is some serious wisdom right there.
Yes. And,
thank you. Wow.
And
all right, stop that.
so I tell myself, stop doing it.
I'm curious too about the connection when we change those sort of what we'll just call it mental or emotional habit. Let's say carrying guilt is a mental or emotional habit. When we really find ourselves free of it or moved on from it, does it lighten the load literally, like in the body or around relationships? Maybe it makes us feel more free there, or I think there's these little impacts that we maybe don't track, or the way that we feel we're living our best life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Just how your day is going to go.
Yeah.
It changes how your day is going to be or how you're going to sleep at night even. I can wake up in the middle of the night and start thinking about these things and forget it. I'm not going to go to sleep. stop doing that. And that's what I tell myself.
Right. And it
because
works.
Because it will lead into the next day of being, I don't feel good today because I didn't sleep.
Yeah.
And for me, it works. I talked about how Amy and I strive to not get old. We see people with certain behaviors and we're like, we're not going to do that.
Give us an example.
Well, first of all, weight is important. Managing our weight, managing what we eat, watching people who have control of their health, who are, maybe, my mom could be an example of that. She could have tried to change her diet a little more or gotten more exercise. She always had these ideas, I'm going to do this, and then never would follow through.
Yeah.
Let's say you get diagnosed with something that's a degenerative disease, you have to be your own champion and you have to get on that bike. So that's one thing. And then we actually have we keep a list of things that you should not do unless you're old. And so we will not do these things because we're not old and we're not going to become old. And we may be old in body at some point.
I was just going to say, we need to define old now.
Yeah, you can't stop aging, of course.
No.
But there's all these things in your prompts that you sent about wisdom. I'm not wise. I'm too young to be wise.
Oh,
yes.
That's the resistance.
I'm 55.
Now I get it, man.
Yes, so we came up with this list.
Okay, hang on before you share the list.
Yeah.
When you guys share, you know what each other means when you say, we're not getting old. You have to really be more specific with us. Like, it's a mind state, clearly.
It's a mind state.
So what is it?
Yeah.
What's the old person's mind state that you don't want?
Well, I have a list.
Oh, okay. The list defines it. I got it.
Yeah, the list defines it. So, yeah. And not all of these necessarily define that, but the number one thing when we started this list, it was about sweaters. It started with holiday sweaters, and I asked my mother-in-law.
I have to ask: is this a recent list, or how long has
this been going on for a long time?
How long?
Probably 10 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay, you guys have put a lot of thought into.
Yeah, it's not a long list. So, but yeah, occasionally something will come up, and we'll go, we need to add that to the list. And it started with my mother-in-law was wearing a holiday sweater. I don't remember what it was.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, so how old do you need to be, Brenda, when you start wearing these holiday sweaters? Mm-hmm. And so that's where it started. And so the next thing that's where it started. The other one is bedazzled sweaters. So holiday sweaters we can live with. A lot of people wear holiday sweaters on the holiday. It's okay. Yeah. But bedazzled sweaters that have jewels on them and stuff.
Oh yeah, the glitter.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do it.
Okay.
You can't talk about a comedian that is so incredibly funny and then say, and they don't even need to use bad language.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Heard that from my parents before many times.
Yeah.
In their 80s.
You can't use a quilt as a furniture cover. This one's something my mom did a lot. You can't turn down a lunch date because you already have one other thing already scheduled that day, like a doctor's appointment. It happens all the time.
My mom can't leave the house because the cleaners are coming.
Right. It means they're double booked?
The whole day?
The whole day.
Right. Double booked.
One thing's on the calendar and there's nothing else that they can do that day. I'm not going to talk about my poop.
Let's get clear. Really? No poop talk?
Nope.
It's just, there's so much to say there.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I'm going to hold you to these.
Yep. Okay, you're traveling with your family or friends, your younger family or friends, and you get off the airplane first. And you're old, okay? Don't wait for everybody else to get off the plane because you're fucking slow. So look at the sign for baggage and start walking.
Go.
Because we'll get off the plane.
Yeah.
And have to wait for you.
And then we have to wait for you. Yes. Yeah. And don't offer to carry the heavy suitcase. That's pretty much it. When it's time to go home from vacation, you don't need to pack your shit 24 hours in advance. It's the same stuff you brought with you.
I already do that.
I know, I do.
No, actually, Mark does.
And there's one thing on this list: just try not to fart every time you stand up. But I don't think that's fair.
No, you're right. That's
some things are out of your control.
Yeah.
I appreciate this list because, obviously it's got a great sense of humor. And that is that reflects where you guys are with each other and individually and in your state of mind. It's lovely.
I'm just going to raise my hand over here around the bedazzled sweaters. I'm going to be that woman.
Are you?
Because I love everything that glitters.
Okay.
So.
Okay, I'll give you wear the bedazzled sweaters. I'll wear giant jewelry because I do like big jewelry.
Yeah.
And I see that on older women.
I think it's lovely.
Yeah, I'm not. I will do that. I'm not against that.
Yeah.
So now you've inspired us to make our own lists.
Okay.
It's going to be such great dinner conversation tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every audience member that's listening should definitely have their own list. It brings such humor to the situation. I adore that. That speaks volumes for the whole situation.
It does. But I do think we need to just wrap up by pausing to honor your mom.
Right. Yeah.
What an amazing woman.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I actually had a friend. I was having a drink with a friend of mine a few weeks ago, and he hit me out of the blue. I said, I was talking about our flower business, our flower basket business. That's kind of a side gig that we do. Mm-hmm. And he said, I said, my mom she would not believe we were doing this. She would think this was so cool. And he goes, what do you do to honor your mom's memory? And I'm like, what?
Wow.
What? Okay. I don't know. We talk about things like this. We say, Mom would think this was cool. And so now we took that to heart, and we have a Mother's Day combo that we have that we're going to name after her.
Oh, one of the baskets.
Figured it out. Yeah, one of the
Sweet.
baskets. So yeah, the one. So she's going to, we don't know what it is yet. We have some ideas.
Excellent.
But haven't settled on what it's going to be.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
It's a tribute.
Yeah. I have a rose in my garden that's Mom's rose.
Oh.
And I have one that's my dad's. And right now they're blooming. And so each morning when I go out, and in fact I sat next to Dad's rose bush the other morning, just had a chat.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think there's just lots of little things.
How close together do you put those? Are they
I put them quite far apart.
Okay.
One's by the garage and one's way down below. They needed some space.
Yeah.
So yeah, honoring, what was your mom's name?
Patricia. Yep. Patricia, her dad, my grandpa called her Tish. Like
So a flower hanging basket. Perfect. To honor your mom. We know that it's not an if in our life, that we're all going to be losing parents, losing friends. Death is part of this precious thing we call life. And so just want to really thank you for sharing this story. It's so powerful. I think one of those things, I know when I went through my parents' death, and they were sudden deaths, even though they were in their late 80s, you're never prepared, and you always feel like you're alone.
Right. Yep.
So you sharing this with us and our listeners, I think is just going to really help people. And not to mention the fact that maybe they've never heard about Death with Dignity Act, but also the Washington Agency.
End of Life Washington.
End of Life Washington.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that people, if they're interested, go to the website. There's a lot of good information there. The other thing is that people need to be ready to, if they have a loved one has an illness, that if you can find someone, a physician that's going to coordinate, to drive the car. We're going to drive the car for you and find all these specialists. End of Life Washington is going to drive that car for you. If you can't find someone that's driving the car for the medications and things like that during the illness, you might have to do it yourself. Really good organization.
Yeah, I've heard great things beyond you and your story too. So thanks for being here, Scott. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you for having me. It made me really uncomfortable. Don't ever invite me back.
Excellent news. I'm wearing that sweater tonight.
Live Well, Be Wise is produced and recorded by Kari Lyons Price and yours truly, Dorinda Carlson. Our music is titled Inside You by Leva, a musician and composer at Lemon Music Studio. who we happily found on pixabay.com. Our circle of sharing has concluded for today, but we'd like to give a great gratitude to you, my friend, for listening, for tuning in, maybe even tapping into that understanding and compassion and the knowing within that tells us we're not alone in our own stories. So maybe you would like to share one of your own, or know a friend or a mentor or a teacher, someone you admire that has an extraordinary and inspirational story. We all have stories. The more we share, the more we know we're not alone. And don't be shy to reach out to connect in other ways too. Of course, we'd love for you to subscribe and also give feedback. We wouldn't be here without you. We appreciate you. Live well, be wise.